little cool out this morning. A little damp as well. Gonna let the truck sit here and warm up just a little bit. Nothing like new windshield wipers on a new windshield. This may be the final video in this little short series on the 2018 F150. I was going to do a comparison video between the new truck and my old 94, what the differences are over the years. Weather has not been cooperating at all. It's been cold, it's been wet, and unfortunately, I guess I'm gonna have to give this truck back. Somebody mentioned in the comments there are little, I didn't know this, that there are like louvers inside here. I'm not sure if you can see these or not. And when it's cold out, these will close up. It's kind of like how people used to put cardboard in front of the radiator, but these louvers will close up. I guess they also close at highway speeds for better aerodynamics, something I didn't know existed on this truck. And there are probably several things I don't know about on this truck still. For those of you just joining, I've had this truck now for about a week, gone over it, driven it, so far I've driven it about 410 miles. Wish I could drive it a whole lot more. Right now I'm gonna go put some fuel in this and then probably drive around. We'll talk about the truck a little bit more. So during the time that I've had this truck, it has averaged 16.1 miles to the gallon, which is not an amazing number, although it's slowly going up the whole time I've had it. When I first got the truck, it was sitting at, I believe it was 14.2, something like that. I pulled a couple empty anhydrous tanks from the field into town. Not gonna get real good mileage doing that. And I believe it went down to like 13.6 or 9, I can't remember, somewhere right in there. I know yesterday it was at like 15.8, 15.9, today it's at 16.1. I would expect it to keep going up, and part of that I think is the truck is new. When I got it, it had 30 miles on it, engine had 3 hours, and one of those hours it said was idling. So those are actually pretty big numbers when the truck is brand new, percentage-wise. I would imagine it's going to keep going up as you put more miles on the truck. But overall, after driving this truck for a week, and this is an XLT model, it is not top of the line. It doesn't have every gadget and gizmo available. And even the interior, I'm sure, is not as fancy as the high-end models. But overall, it is not bad at all. And I really like this truck. I didn't have a bad opinion about the new Ford trucks at all before I got this truck. I can honestly say I would love to have this truck. It has power, it has a lot of power, and it has power where you need it all the time. With a 10-speed transmission, it seems to be always in the power band, and the power is just there when you need it. Speaking of the 10-speed transmission, I'm gonna stop here and I'll demonstrate. Really the only time I notice it shifting a little bit is when you first take off, especially if you take off real light, then I notice it for some reason. Other than that, you never really notice the transmission shifting around very much. And it does skip gears. It will go from like first gear to third gear to fifth gear to seventh gear if you're not taking off real hard. We'll just take off. That's kind of a normal little takeoff here. 1 to 3. 3 to 5. Now there's 5 to 6. Give it a little more gas, we'll see what it does. Well, then it starts shifting gear to gear. But it does skip gears, and if you give it a little gas when you're wanting to accelerate going down the road, it will also it downshifts. You really don't feel it. And like I said, it's always in the power. Now, I've heard about this transmission a little bit before, and I believe a lot of research went into this transmission. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this 10-speed transmission is shared between Ford and Chevy. In fact, I think this transmission comes in, I think, the Chevy Camaro ZL1 or something like that. But I do know it seems to work quite well. But as far as driving the truck, I love driving this truck. I believe this is the most solid feeling vehicle I've ever been in. Any little bumps in the road or anything, you go over them and it's just a solid thud, I guess would be the best way to describe it, if you hear anything at all. I know at the end of my road there's some washboard in the gravel road, and this truck just seems to glide over that. You barely feel it at all. This truck, I believe, can tow 13,200 pounds. Some people have wanted me to do a drag race between my 94 and this truck, and it would be no contest. This truck is a whole lot faster than my 94. I always thought it was a pretty quick truck, but after driving this thing's like a rocket on wheels. Now, I know some people have told me on my channel, go back to the OBS trucks. And I'm not getting away from the OBS trucks. I love the OBS trucks. For those of you that don't know, OBS stands for old body style. I do love those trucks, I know those trucks, and I'm not going away from those trucks. Even if I somehow ended up with this truck or one like it, I would not pull the OBS trucks from my channel. However, I think a couple of OBS trucks plus a new truck on the channel, I think that would make for a pretty good combination. You could show what you could do with the new trucks. Things like exhaust, tires, lift. Same thing I've been doing to the older trucks, but do it to a newer truck. Show people what can be done. I think that would make for some good content. I'm gonna get back to the shop and I'm gonna go over a couple of things I wish were different on the truck. Nothing real big, just a couple little things I've noticed. So, see you back at the shop. A little different than this truck. Hopefully that red truck will end up looking like this truck in the not too distant future. Actually, not too bad here in the shop. It's 53 degrees, but I'm gonna turn the heat on, get it warmed up. One thing I haven't done yet is show under the hood. So let's do that real quick. And there is the 3.5 EcoBoost. Really doesn't look like it'd be too hard to work under the hood of this truck. Take this top cover off and I think you could probably get to a lot of things. But that's what it looks like under the hood. Over here's where you check your oil. About the same place as it is on the green truck. Decided to bring the 2018 truck into the shop where it's a little warmer. Jesse decided to join me. Say hi, Jess. No? Anyway, gonna go over a couple of things here. One thing that I would change if I could, and maybe there's a way, but I haven't found it. When you back up, you put it in reverse, of course, and your backup camera comes on. Well, when I back up, I tend to be backing up, and then before I come to a complete stop, I'll put it in neutral. Well, when you do that, as soon as you shift to neutral, the backup camera turns off, which is what it's supposed to do. This is not a big deal, but I would rather have it that the camera has a little delay, or maybe you could set the delay or something, because when I'm backing up, and might only be going, you know, 2, 3, maybe 4 miles an hour or something. Shift it to neutral and your camera shuts off. I don't know, like I said, it's not a big deal. It's just something that if I could change that, put a delay on it for how long the camera stays on, I probably would. The first thing I noticed when I used this truck and I was pulling those anhydrous tanks out of the field and it was a little dusty out and so forth, I had gloves on and got in the truck and the gloves were a little dusty and so forth. You get on the steering wheel and this steering wheel has a texture to it and just soft enough that dust really stuck to it. And that's not a big deal either, and Ford certainly isn't going to change their style of steering wheel for that, but it was just something I noticed. Also, inside the truck you have a 110 outlet right there. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but there's another one. There's another one back here. Right, Jesse? My question is, you have two 110 outlets inside the truck. Why not put one back here somewhere? I think I would probably use a 110 outlet back here if you're working on something on the tailgate and you could run a tool or something out here. I think that would be a nice feature if there was a 110 or even two 110s back here in the back of the truck. I do like how easily that tailgate shuts. Also, like I showed earlier, the little louvers inside the grill that go, they're over on this side and this side. Maybe a way to shut those off so they don't function. I don't know, maybe Ford has this figured out, but to me, what's gonna happen when, say, you're driving in freezing rain or an ice storm or something, and those louvers are trying to shut, but they have a lot of ice buildup on them, and it's not gonna let them shut. Or they get froze, stuck in the shut position. I don't know, to me that's just something I think about. Also, one other thing we noticed, I took my wife and daughter, we went out to dinner, and they wanted to connect her phone onto this. My daughter wanted to listen to some music that was on my wife's phone, and the problem is, you can't switch devices like from my phone to her phone if you're driving down the road. I understand why it's set up that way, it's a safety thing, but couldn't you get around that by asking if you're the driver or passenger, or have it set up that the passenger pushes a button, or I don't know, something. You can't switch like from my phone to her phone unless you come to a stop. Kind of annoying, again, not a huge deal, but something that if I could change it, I would. But overall, I am very impressed with this truck. It's a very solid feeling vehicle. It's very quiet, smooth riding. It's not as smooth as, say, a luxury car or something like that, but for a truck, it has a firm feel to it, but it's not jarring at all. So I really like the way the truck drives down the road. I really like the performance of the truck. I would love to own this truck. I think it'd be great for long-term test, and also I'd just like to own the truck. I would love to be able to show what somebody can do with one of these new trucks. Maybe some bigger wheels and tires, aftermarket exhaust, either leveling or lifting the whole truck a little bit. I don't know what there is out there if you're able to tune these trucks or not, but I imagine I could come up with a whole bunch of things that you could do. Hey, I'm recording here. But I imagine I could come up with a whole bunch of things that you could do to the new 2018. I think the only thing I might like different, if I had my choice. Really? What are you doing? There you go. I think I might opt for the 5-liter, the 302 engine. Even though really it has a little bit less power than this 3.5 EcoBoost, I think it'd be nice to have a new 2018 with a 302 along with my 94 that has a 302 as well. And also, if you were to put aftermarket exhaust on it, I think the 5-liter might sound a little better. Although I have been told with this 3.5 EcoBoost, you can get aftermarket exhaust that really does sound pretty good. So I hope you've enjoyed these. I think there's 3 videos on the 2018. This whole week didn't quite go as planned. We were still in the field when I first got it. Didn't know if that was going to happen. Really couldn't plan around it very good. We didn't know when we were going to be in the field. The weather hasn't cooperated the greatest. But as far as my opinion on the new 2018 Ford F150, I give it a thumbs up. It has totally changed my view on the EcoBoost, I can tell you that much. That thing has got power. And it certainly doesn't feel like a V6 sitting under the hood. The 10-speed transmission in this truck seems to be flawless. It really is a nice truck. I only wish I could keep this truck and continue on making videos with it. I hope you've enjoyed the last 3 videos, something a little different than what you're used to seeing on my channel. I do want to say thanks again to Ford Motor Company for allowing this to happen. Also to Charles Gabus Ford down in Des Moines, Iowa's #1 Ford dealer. And again, if you are in the market for a new Ford, Charles Gabus Ford would be the place to go. So give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.